So, the trailer for the Ghostbusters reboot is out, and oh-wee! Look at that dislike bar. Really, guys? I mean, don't get me wrong, I knew there was bound to be a lot of vitriol thrown at this thing by virtue of its name alone, but I've never seen such a disproportionate amount of dislikes for a movie that looks so average. The Fant4stick trailer? I get it. The Trolls trailer? I really get. But this? I've got a lot of problems with it, to be sure. Don't think I'm gonna be singing this thing's praises, but at the very worst, it looks like a slightly below-average doofy comedy. Take the name Ghostbusters off this trailer, and I bet you it wouldn't have any likes or dislikes beyond the triple digits right now. If you already can't be bothered to watch any farther, just know that my thesis statement is this. Whether or not this was related to a long-beloved classic film, the movie and this trailer ultimately deserve to be judged on their own merits and not comparatively. And on its own merits, to me, this thing is completely unremarkable. It's the female cast, isn't it? Really, you guys? Come on, who cares? Even if it is just for the sake of marketing or novelty, are we losing anything by having a female team of Ghostbusters? If the answer is yes, you're probably sexist, and if no, then I don't see what the problem is. It's an arbitrary change, but a harmless one. No matter who you think it's trying to appeal to, the genitalia of the characters does not determine any aspect of the movie's quality. And I say that as someone who finds all quality subjective. If that's really something that bothers you on any deep level, then you're just an incredibly petty person. No aspect of the directing, pacing, technicals, or writing is affected by the attempt to appeal to females, and if you're acting like it does, you're part of the problem. Speaking of the writing, though, I despise any kind of bodily function humor, and though you could argue it's a given because we deal with ghost slime all the time in this franchise, this thing did not get off to a good start by opening with a vomit joke of all things. In fairness, I think it's a smart move from a marketing standpoint that it's still a bit ambiguous as to whether or not this takes place in the same universe as the first two films. It'll be kind of weird if it isn't though, since I feel like last year put the coffin lid on the reboot-remake era, in favor of straight-up continuations of old brands. I guess I just find it curious that a completely unconnected remake is something that would have felt more at home half a decade ago. I'll also admit that I dug the ghost designs. I've heard that all the humanoid ghosts will be played by actual actors, with the CG being largely touch-up stuff, and the candy-colored, super-luminescent look to everything strikes me as a perfect way to update the look of the ghosts from the originals. But getting back to the humor for a sec, I like the let's go bit with the talking over each other and actually that's about it. For a comedy, there's surprisingly little focus on the comedic parts of this trailer, in favor of setting up the plot as a loose retelling of the original film. I guess we're supposed to find the fact that their car is a hearse funny? And there's also the obligatory post-title drop joke, which is really, really bad. That brings me to this character, Patty, who I honestly think is what kills the trailer for most people. The other three Ghostbusters all seem roughly like stand-ins for Egon, Ray, and Peter, but even from this small amount of footage, I think there are clear differences in their dynamic and personalities. The black one, though? This is almost uncomfortable. Based on this trailer alone, she's easily the most obnoxious, two-dimensional, over-the-top, and buffoonish out of the four. I get that Winston was the only non-scientist out of the original four, but I've seriously struggled over whether or not to call this straight-up racist. And that never happens. Not with me, anyway. I'm the guy who didn't even find Jar Jar Binks racist. But this character is just bizarre. She's an uneducated, unaware, quote-unquote streetwise black person who screams at the top of her lungs because screaming is funny. She's the one problem with this trailer that I don't think I can pin on just shallow marketing. I honestly think it's a foregone conclusion that she's going to be the worst part of the movie. But you know what? This trailer really doesn't look any worse than just kinda lame. I may see this thing in theaters when it comes out, I may not, but either way, I think people need to take a deep breath and realize that no matter what becomes of this movie, it will not ruin Ghostbusters. If by some miracle it's good, then we've got another worthwhile installment in an already great series, and if it isn't, we'll forget about it within a few months. Chill out.